there is no
little
need to
bouncy
squeeze in
here.
with strangers. They make for one long, awkward trip.
So Joyce is going to
Friends, you guys will all be on the
take it over the
next
camera,
truck.
and I'm going to direct.
Watch those hands, arms,
It'll be the first time ever.
on your right. Doors are sliding
All right, here we go.
Let's go, so let's get out of here. Jumbo, everybody, hello. My name is Bree. I'll be your safari guide here through the Harambee Wildlife Reserve today. Now, for your safety, it is very important that you guys do me a couple of favors. First and foremost, it is very important to remember that we all should be remaining fully and completely seated at all times. Even if our truck is stopped, even if I'm not moving and we are completely parked, everybody has to be seated because it's rough, it is bumpy, it is a little bit fast out there at some points, and if we are not all sitting, I can't stop for animals. Now, it is also very important to remember that as we are guests in the animals' homes, that we are being mindful and respectful of those animals. So please don't make any loud or sudden sounds that may frighten the animals. Please do not try to call at the animals, making any animal sounds or mimicking any animal sounds whatsoever, because that could scare them away. And while we're not out there for a long time, I want to make sure that we're getting those awesome views, and I cannot do that if we are all going to be loud or making very, very, very loud sounds towards the animals. So with that being said, we're going to head on out into the Harambee Wildlife Reserve. Now we are starting our adventure here in the reserve in the Aturi Forest. Now the Aturi Forest is home to animals who are a little bit shy. They do like to use the brush and vegetation as a form of camouflage. So these guys usually rely heavily on that thick brush and that vegetation as a natural camouflage that hides them from different types of predator and different types of danger. Now you'll notice that a lot of these animals have earth tone colored coats. So lots of browns, lots of different shades of brown and different things like that. And that does allow for them to blend into their surroundings fairly well.
Oh, there we go.
Now hanging out there to your right hand side is an Okapi. And the Okapi are known for being the only known relative of the giraffe. And it is evident in their skull as well as in their vertebrae in their neck. Now the Okapi are also going to either live alone in a family style group of 2 or less, or live by themselves completely. Now here to the left as well, there is a black and white bird kind of hanging out there in the water. That is a Saddlebuild Stork. Now Saddlebuild Stork are also another bird species or an animal species that does choose to live either by itself or in a group of 2 or less. Now here to your left as well, there is a black rhino.
Gorgeous.
Now even though black rhino are called black rhino, they are actually not black at all. They are a deep gray. And they are herbivores, meaning that they do only eat leafy greens, so lots of plant life. Now a lot of these animals here in the Aturi Forest, like the bongo here to your left, like I said, they have those earth tone colored coats, and they also blend in fairly well to their surroundings, giving them nicknames like the bongo has the ghost of the forest, because they are so good at blending in. And on the hillside up there to your left hand side, all the way back out there, those sandy brown colored antelope are greater kudu.
Here we go.
Now the Safi River is a natural waterway. So when you think of natural waterways or waterways in general, think of our oceans, lakes, streams, rivers, and ponds, and all sorts of things like that as well. Now, a lot of these environments are home to animals who split both of their times between living in water and living in or on around land. So different animals like Nile Hippo, Nile Crocodile, and other types of animals like that do live out and about these parts. Now animals like the Nile Hippo and Nile Crocodile are fairly, for the most part, going to spend a lot of their time split between the two. We are going to go forward a little bit to see if we can get a good view of that Nile Hippo. Now it is pretty cool that we are about to see a Nile Hippo on land, because Nile Hippo, for the most part, are going to be in the water all day and usually come out on land during the evening hours. So here to your left, Nile Hippo. Now, Nile Hippo are known for those teeth of ivory. It is important that we are not holding our young friends up either. They have to be sitting too. But their teeth are made of ivory. and they can hold their breath for about 8 minutes or so at a time. Now, Nile hippo live in family-style groups called a float. And then here to your left, Nile crocodile. Crocodile are known for their powerful jaws. Those jaws have a bite force of about 2,000 pressure per square inch, meaning that they can actually crush and shatter bones of prey that are even sometimes twice their size or larger. Now, those jaws are also going to be the main way that you can tell the difference between crocodiles and alligators, with their jaws having more of a long, narrow build, as well as alligators' jaws are going to be a little bit shorter, rounded, and more of a triangular shape. Now we are making our way down and into the Savannah ecosystem.
I know.
And the Savannah is home to those animals that you'd be able to easily identify. So various different species of antelope, different animals like zebra, giraffe, and other types of animals do live out and around these parts. Environments that we are in, you can usually tell the main difference between these environments based off of the animals that call it home. This is the Serengeti, or the Savannah. So it's going to be wide open spaces home to animals that like to roam and run around. Like out to your right, there's going to be some smaller antelope kind of hanging about out there towards the tree line back there. Those are called Springbok, and they are one of the smaller antelope species that live here on the reserve. Now, various other animal species as well that live out here in the savannah rely heavily on the wide open spaces as a form of running away when it comes to any type of predator. Now, animals in the Aturi forest were more prone to hiding if they felt in danger or threatened. Animals here in the savannah will actually feel the need to run whenever they are in danger or threatened. So that's why you'll notice that there's lots of wide open spaces for them to run if they do face any types of danger of any sort. Now, coming up and around to our left, we're going to be coming up on a species called the African painted dog. Not hyena, African painted dog. Now, the African painted dog are closely related to the canine family, so your dog and wolves will be their closest relative. Now, they may seem very cute and very cuddly, but they are actually one of the most dangerous and most successful predators in the savannah. Now, the reason being is that they do hunt in a pack. So the whole pack will chase the prey to exhaustion. Once the whole entire prey will drop from being so tired, the whole pack will swoop in and take care of it from there. Now, here to your left, this is an animal called a wildebeest. Now, wildebeest are migratory animals, meaning that they do travel large distances to get to where they need to go. Sometimes hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles they will travel and walk. And because of that, their babies actually have to be able to walk and stand, sometimes run within the first 15 minutes of being born, which is pretty impressive. Now, here to your left, we're coming up on a cattle called Ankole cattle. Now, Ankole cattle are also called the Watusi cattle, and that is after the very first African tribe that ever domesticated them. They kept them on their land as a livestock. Now, the Ankole cattle are known for those horns of theirs. If you were to lay them flat from end to end, their horns would range anywhere between 5 and 6 feet long. Now, their horns are not heavy. If you were to look inside of their horns, they actually have a hollowed out honeycomb or beehive-like structure, and that allows for them to regulate their body temperature through blood circulation. Now, coming on into the clearing here on our right, we'll be coming up on a species of zebra called Hartman's mountain zebra. Going to be in their stripe patterns. Now, the way you can tell that these are Hartman's mountain zebra are in the fact that their stripes are a little bit thicker, and they also don't wrap completely around their bellies. Hartman's mountain zebra stripes will stop right before it gets to their stomachs, so they don't wrap completely around. Now, another species of zebra that exists here in Animal Kingdom is called the Grevy Zebra, and they usually hang out on Gorilla Falls. So if you guys are going to be hanging out in the park today, definitely go check out Gorilla Falls so you can see another species of zebra that is known to live out and around there. And then here to your left, coming up on some giraffe. Now, all of the species of giraffe that live here in Harambee are called Masai Giraffe. And that is also after an African people, the Masai tribes of Africa. Now, giraffes are the tallest land animals in the world, getting to be anywhere between 16 and 20 feet tall in their adult lives. Now, when they're born, their babies are born at approximately 6 feet tall. So they are pretty much going to be larger from their time of birth all the way up throughout their adult lives. Now, giraffes will pretty much spend about 20 hours every single day eating, and that is because they have a very fast metabolism. So they do have to keep eating for long periods of time throughout the day to keep up with that. Now, believe it or not, giraffes have the same amount of vertebrae in their neck as we do. Theirs are just spread out more and larger than ours. Now, lots of animals here in the Harambee Wildlife Reserve and in wildlife reserves and zoos all around the world are in these areas for a reason. A lot of these animals are facing very serious and devastating effects in their wild lives that make it a little bit harder for them to live in the wild and force them under the care of humans. Different things like habitat loss due to deforestation or pollution, or simply things like hunting and poaching for the things that make them special. And believe it or not, a lot of those negative influences that are happening to these animals and their environments are all based on human activity. Now, just like Rafiki says in The Lion King, we do all live in one great big circle of life, but believe it or not, humans are not always going to be team players. Now, a lot of animals are facing very serious threats of extinction due to poaching. For different animals like African elephants, hippos, rhinos, and other animals like that, they are hunted for things called trophies, or simply things that make them special. Examples of those trophy items, or simply they are also called animal byproducts, are things like the tusks of an elephant that are made of ivory, or the teeth of a Nile hippo that are also made of ivory. Things like the horns of black and white rhinos, which are made of keratin, or in other instances, coats of the giraffe or the zebra or the cheetah, or different things like that are being taken from these animals by force as they're hunted and poached at alarming rates. For a lot of those hunters and poachers, they look to sell those items on black markets across the world. But luckily for us here in the United States of America, the selling and trading of animal byproducts and trophies, quote unquote, has been banned since the 80s. Now, a lot of countries and a lot of other continents and other places are trying their best to get different laws and regulations put out into their systems that help protect their local wildlife as well. Now, you guys can get involved in helping our animals, helping our environment in many different ways, and different things called conservation. That should be something that you hear a lot throughout your time in Disney's Animal Kingdom today. Conservation, meaning different things that we can either do or change or adapt in our regular everyday lives at home that have a positive impact on the environment instead of a negative one, like a lot of the things that we do have. Different things like throwing away your trash instead of littering, cleaning up after yourselves, recycling if you can, doing different things like when you're brushing your teeth, turning off the water so that you don't have water running. It'll save millions of gallons of water each and every year. Different things like using reusable water bottles and drinking straws to reduce our plastic waste in the environment. And all of those things go a long way to save millions of animals worldwide. Now, here is an island of greater flamingo.
Oh, the greater one.
Now, greater flamingo get their name simply because they are the larger flamingo species. And unlike the Saddlebuild Stork that we saw a little bit ago, they are known to live in larger family-style groups called a flamboyance. So this is a flamboyance of greater flamingo. Now, flamingo do depend heavily on social surroundings and social settings. So they do pretty much their whole entire lives live in larger social style groups. Now we are coming up on my favorite animal here in the reserve, and one of my favorite animals ever, the white rhino. And it looks like there is a baby white rhino here too, on your left. Now, unlike their cousins, the black rhino, white rhino do live in family-style groups called a crash. So this is a crash of white rhino.
Crash.
Now, with white and black rhino species being threatened, they are endangered. The birth of 3 baby white rhinos here in Animal Kingdom have been very surprising and very awesome for us here, because that does allow for us to help the animal species in that way at least. Now, white rhino are significantly larger than their cousins, the black rhino, ranging anywhere between 5 and 5,500 pounds in their adult lives. As babies, they're born at approximately 85 pounds. Judging by the size of that baby rhino, it looks like it is a couple of months old already at this point. And they will pretty much continue to grow throughout their lives until they reach that 5,000 pounds or larger. Now over to your left, kind of laying out under the trees there, you can kind of see its tail moving around. There is a cheetah up there, but it may be a little bit hard to see, and that's just because it blends in fairly well to the ground. Now cheetahs are the fastest land animal in the world, reaching a running speed of about 70 to 80 miles an hour. Now they are sprinters, meaning that they cannot keep up those fast speeds for long periods of time, only for a couple of moments or so before they give out from exhaustion. So cheetahs actually rely heavily on hunting during the day, where they can pretty much sneak up on their prey in tall grasses and then reach those fast running speeds to try to take them down fairly quickly.
We're gonna come
now, like
back
I said, various different
bit.
methods of conservation. If you guys
not
are
the
hanging
best
around
so
the
far.
parks today, definitely check out our walking trails here in Animal Kingdom, like Gorilla Falls here in Africa, where you can see some more African animals and learn more ways about how you can get involved in conservation. And you can also check out the Maharaj Jumbo Trek in Asia, where you can see Asian-style animals like the Komodo dragon, bats the size of your head, and both of those areas also have very beautiful bird aviaries and bird sanctuaries as well. And there you can learn a lot more about methods of conservation and different things and different ways that you guys can do or get involved at home to help these environments and help these animal friends. You guys can also, while you're here in Animal Kingdom, feel free to donate to Disney's Conservation Fund. And it is a fund set up through the Walt Disney Company that for everything that you donate, even if it's just $1, the Walt Disney Fund will go ahead and match that donation. So if you donate $1, Disney will donate $1, and 100% of the proceeds go towards animal conservation projects around the world. And since its founding in 1997, Disney's Conservation Fund has actually been able to help donate over $100 million to animal programs and projects all around the world.
And oh, there we go.
Now here to your right, another really good view of a white rhino hanging out here in the bushes. Now, white rhino, despite them being so large, are actually herbivores, meaning that they do only eat leafy greens, so lots of plant life. And then here to your right, this antelope species here is called a bontebok. Now, the bontebok have a very unique story in that they were almost completely and fully extinct from the wild in the early 20th century until a group of local African farmers protected them on their land. There was only about 17 of them left. And with those 17, they were able to breed them and repopulate their population. And ever since then, they've been thriving on wildlife reserves all around the world. So that just shows you just how much a little bit of effort can go when it comes to these animals and helping the environment as well as the animals too. Now, getting involved, no matter how big or how small, almost always has a domino effect, meaning that everyone that you know will learn to get involved as long as you participate and spread the word on what you've learned. It helps the smallest of animals like the Nigerian dwarf goats here to your left, to the largest of animals like our African elephant friends and white rhino friends that we've seen here on the reserve today. So like I said, doing those things like throwing away your trash and recycling, taking garbage bags with you whenever you go to the beach to help to throw away your your trash, but also if you see any trash out and about on the shores, you could always pick that up and throw that away as well. Like I said, shutting off the water when you are brushing your teeth so that we are not wasting water, and other things like that, using reusable water bottles and straws, reusable bags when you go to the grocery store, and all sorts of other things. The list can go on in ways that you can get involved. Now, as we are coming up to the Warden's Post again, checking out those walking trails, Gorilla Falls here in Africa has western lowland gorillas, making bull rats and meerkats. The Maharaj Jungle Trek in Asia has Komodo dragons, bats the size of your head, a bird aviary, and sanctuary too. Now, as we make our...
We just got off the Kilimanjaro safari. And we're getting back on. It was 40 minutes last time, and it ended up being like 5 or 10 minutes. And this time it says 10 minutes, but the line is longer than it was last time. So we're gonna see. So 40 minutes ended up being 5, and now it says 10, and we're gonna see if it actually is 10, because the line is a lot longer this time. But if the 4 o'clock feeding is what, coming up soon?
Yeah.
What time is it?
It's 3:52.
All right, so 4 o'clock feeding is in 8 minutes.
Like, if that works out.
Yeah, we'll see.
As you move out into zone 2, please note the following second feet in each row of the zone may be seated next to.
All right, guys, it's been under 10 minutes. Under 10 minutes. It said 10 minutes. It's been what, 8? 8 minutes?
10.
It's been 10
Well,
minutes.
since we got off.
Wait, so it's okay. So, all right, so we're still within the time frame. All right, guys, it's 4 o'clock feeding time. Right at 10 minutes. All right, although the wildlife wasn't very active after our first safari adventure, I thought our safari guide did a fantastic job educating our group in wildlife conservation and management. So I will likely not edit out too much of our first safari. That being said, the plan on this safari is I will likely only insert footage of any like wildlife and nature that we didn't spot or discuss the first time.
Okapi's going to be on the right side here. Right side, we're going to see a tree native to Savannah. It's known as the baobab tree. It's known as a tree of life due to its ability to store thousands of gallons of water, and it's shrunk during drought. Elephants like to break down the bark of the baobab tree and absorb the moisture like a sponge. We'll also see more of those Masai giraffes. Now, we know these are Masai giraffes actually by their coat. They have a jagged, lacy coat to them. Great way to help identify them as Masai giraffes. Giraffes also have a very long, bendable, dark blue colored tongue. That dark tongue does prevent sunburn, so they do spend a lot of their day eating. Only about 30 minutes of every day is spent sleeping, and those 30 minutes aren't all at once. It's actually a few minutes at a time in between eating. They do have their eggs there, and they build those nests a little bit high off the ground to help protect the eggs from the water that they live nearby. When those flamingo babies are born, they are going to be born a gray color. Here we're going to see a baby white rhino. This is me, little Milo. Milo is the middle child of the baby white rhino.
Well, that's it from Kilimanjaro Safari. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to catch the entire day at Animal Kingdom, just click the link below. You can also catch a little bonus footage of our night in Magic Kingdom. Until then, remember, Disney is the place where dreams do come true. We'll see ya.